This Draymond thing, man. This Draymond thing, like, let's just talk about this right out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way. Like, live, right? Like a live speed, you're like, okay, maybe he whipped his arm around and it was the right? It was the overhand right. And you're like, okay, maybe he flailed it and it caught him in the face. But then, and I know slow motion can make things look kind of worse than they are. He bends and changes the angle to club him in the face. And I know maybe some of you are probably thinking like, just be quiet, defend Draymond. Like we don't want it. Like there's no way to defend it, man. There's no way to defend it. And listen, Nurkic is elite dirty. He is. And what I mean by that is he subtly, very subtly gets in his elbows and his grabs and his shoulder bumps within the flow of the game. And then on the other end, he flops and gets those calls. He's very good at it, right? It's kind of within the game. It's kind of within the game, right? He's good at it. And I'm sure that frustration was boiling over, but there's no excuses. There's no excuses at this point. What's the stat? He's played 15 games. He's been thrown out of 3 of them, and at what point here, like I guess we can talk consequences, right? And I don't know, what is it? It's 1 p.m. here in Phoenix, and I don't know what they're going to hand down, but I expect it's going to be hefty. And I can't blame Adam Silver in the league if it is. Like, do I want it? No. Like, I know we still need Draymond, and the way the season's going, this is spiraling. But at the same time, objectively speaking, can you blame the league for handing down a heavier suspension? And this goes to the same people that were arguing about, hey, you can't punish him off reputation when the Gobert incident happened. This is life, man. This is like, reputations matter, and this is how it goes. And so I don't have any excuse, or I don't really have any take. I don't think there's a take to have. I think objectively, it's just like, yo, he's going to have to take his consequences, and he's going to have to. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the solution is, because obviously the Warriors need him, but it feels like at this point he's too unhinged. He can't control himself. Let's talk about the game. Listen, the strategy to send 2 at Booker, basically from the start, it really speaks to how poorly Andrew Wiggins has been defending, right? And listen, Devin Booker is a top 10 player. I understand you're not going to shut him down, but in the past, you could put Andrew Wiggins on him, right? And he could hold his own. He could slow him down. You didn't have to send 2 every time, right? So I think that's the root of it, is like, hey, Wiggs can't guard him at all. And then I think when KD was out, they were like, hey, let's make the others, on paper, it sounds really good. Like, hey, make the others win. We'll just take the ball out of Booker's hands. But, after Okogie hit his second or third 3, Metu hit his second or third 3, it was like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work. And I think a big part of it was such a soft trapping of Booker. They never made him do anything different. He knew his read before he had to make it every time. Skip pass to the wing, maybe one other pass, we're getting an open shot. It was too soft of a trap, and they didn't show him different looks. I think, and hindsight is always 20/20, but I think that we'd have been better suited sticking Kuminga on him and saying, all right, go 50 ballless, right? But again, you got to, like, how about helping late? How about letting him get to his spot and then sending help? I think they did that one time, and it looked like Pajemski did it just off instincts. And so it was a poor strategy. The other part of it is, when do you send 2 in the beginning, right? It was like reversed. You do that late. In the beginning, he's patient. He's like, oh, look at this. Here they come. He's at midcourt. Here they come slowly to trap me. We'll just play 4-on-3. We'll just play 4-on-3 the entire half. It was such poor strategy, the way it was executed and the time of it. It should have been done late. Then they let him go 1-on-1 late and put us away. Man. Steph obviously went ice cold there in the second half, and I think he kind of had to pay the piper for his shot selection, right? He has been, obviously the numbers are crazy, but his shot selection, he's been shooting tough shots. He's just been making them. He shot a lot of tough, quick threes in that second half, and they finally weren't falling for him. But listen, man, as frustrating as this loss is, Steve Kerr has broken the seal. He has broken the seal. We've been talking about it all season long, right? Wiggins, Clay, Looney, nowhere to be found down the stretch of that game. and you saw them make a late push. I don't know how much of it was us making a push or the Suns tricking that off, right? I think it was a combination of both. But for the first time, Kerr let the second unit and the young guys finish the game and try to get that win. And I think that that's super important moving forward. I just got done with the breakdown on my Patreon. It's like about 14 minutes, go over all the details and all that. But, you know, I think now that he's finally done it, it's going to be easier to do it moving forward, right? And if the Warriors are able to turn this season around with this current roster, we're going to point to that game last night in Phoenix where Steve Kerr finally, his hand was almost forced, right? Draymond's out of there, and it almost was forced, but finally did what we all been asking for. And hey, they almost pulled it out. They almost pulled it out. Brandon Pajemski, what do you have, 20 and 10 or something? Like, he's hard to take off the floor, man. He's hard to take off the floor. The relentless rebounding, I know you see that. Like, he is challenging every rebound all the time, right? It's ridiculous. And look, you like defensively, do you want him on an island with James Harden like they had the other afternoon in Los Angeles? Probably not, right? Do you want him guarding Book on an island? No, that's not a good proposition for pretty much anybody. But what he is proving to be is one of the better team defenders already on this team. Sliding in, taking charges, the urgency to X out or close out on a shooter. It's twice as fast as Clay or Wiggins. And so he just brings a lot to the table. And I think if he has the ball in his hands more offensively, you're going to see him gain a rhythm and a confidence with his shot. But really good performance from him. CP shot the ball well. That was a silver lining. But overall, big picture, yeah, I mean, the Draymond thing, like, are we going to see him until 2024? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not asking for that. I would love for it to just be a one-game suspension, and maybe this was a tipping point for Draymond. And he's like, all right, enough's enough. I've got to change. Because even after the Gobert incident, right, he kind of said, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. I'm not going to take it back, right? Maybe this is the incident where he's like, all right, I got to dial this back a little bit. But I just think the big picture, Steve, now it's set the table for the young guys to contribute more. And once you've done it once, he can continue to do it. And if the vets continue to trick off starts of games, get them out of there. And I actually think that it may be a benefit. Listen, Wiggins, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But with Clay, I think that this may relieve pressure. If he's getting less minutes and the expectations in himself kind of get lowered, perhaps it'll relieve pressure and he can find a rhythm with less minutes and have fresher legs, right? Now, I know what the comment section is probably going to look like, a whole bunch of trade proposals. Trade season has come early in Golden State. There's no doubt about it. Listen, man, the way Wiggins has looked and his value has tanked, do you consider that LaVine move, right? Because the word is like no one wants to touch that LaVine contract, right? And then there was the news this morning from Shams that at the beginning of the season, the Warriors had offered Clay 2 for 48 or thereabouts about, right? More or less 24, 25 millions for 2 years seems more than gracious at this point, right? More than generous. You'd imagine that offer is probably no longer on the table from the Warriors side. I'm just guessing, right? But if you're going to get such little production out of Wiggins and out of Clay with these high salaries, do you take a big gamble on a Zach LaVine? Siakam, the bidding war is going to start, and Majiri is going to, like an auctioneer, he's going to get that bid up as high as possible. I don't know if we have the capital to do that. It might cost too much. But yeah, a trade is needed. I had mentioned Jarrett Allen as far as a big athletic body. But as the names and available players start to leak and we start to get a feel for what the market actually is, like so-and-so offered this or they're looking to do this, let's see if going to the young players, utilizing them more and more here, at least in the next week or two, how things look. I'm not saying we don't need a trade, but I'm very curious to see now that I think Kerr has finally ripped the Band-Aid off this situation with the rotation. Things could hopefully look better. And that's my take on this right now. It's Draymond, man. I love you, but damn, dog. Whew. I don't know. I guess in the comments, Leave me your thoughts on a trade and or how long you think Draymond will be suspended, because a suspension is coming, right? I think we all agree on that. As always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.